Welcome again to the Kitchen of Celtic Care. I'm Chef McBride here, and we've got a little special. Been kind of out of it for the last few weeks, as you can see. Still recovering from my eye surgery, but this one's going out special to the Minnesota Irish Festival, which is happening the second weekend of August. And in lieu of that, we're going to do something out of our Irish cookbook, which is a Guinness Chocolate Walnut Cake. So as you can tell, we're going to be using Guinness beer. And I've had some people just recently writing to me yesterday, you actually cook a cake with Guinness? And yes, you do. And there's a lot of things that you can be done with that stuff. So first of all, let's get going really quickly for this. A few things I'm going to do. I like to use chocolate chips. They are nice, semi-sweet chocolate chips. These are a little bit old, but they'll work fine for us right now for it all. They're going to give us almost as much sugar as we're going to need for this whole dish without having to really go over too much. We got it a little bit on our fire, and then we're going to just throw in our Guinness beer right away with that. And let that all kind of cook together for it all. I used about a full bottle, and that was about a little over 2 cups of chocolate chip. And that will kind of give us that. Now, the thing about Celtic desserts is they're very low in sugar, not very overly sweet for it all. Our dessert, our frosting for this is going to be a little bit more, but for the most part, most of our dishes. Now, as you're going to say, most of you, you're seeing me go and make this on the stovetop. Most desserts are actually done, in the United States or so, Canada, with using the mixer. But back in the day, a lot of desserts were actually all started on the stovetop before they would move to an oven. So in this case, like I said, we're just going to go and take our chocolate chips and really quickly just kind of go and melt them all out. We want to go and we don't want to heat this up too much, but we want to make sure that everything's melted up. The Guinness works really well with chocolate for all. You can actually go and make a Guinness chocolate ice cream. There's several recipes out there on the internet. But this one is interesting where we're going to mix it all this together for our Guinness chocolate cake. Now, there's some secrets about when you're going to go and make a chocolate cake. And I'm just using this first stage to kind of show you how we go and make all this with the chocolate melted here. And you want to go into the point where our chocolate is just melted enough with the Guinness beer before we add in our ingredients for it all. So you want to know a secret about how to go and make really moist chocolate cake? It's adding a little bit of mayonnaise. I know that sounds absurd to some people and all that, but it really is. Because think, what is mayonnaise really? Mayonnaise is nothing but whipped up eggs and oil. Well, those actually go work for the binding agent, but it also makes it for a nice smooth, and the oily and texture and for it makes it really moist. Help hold everything together. So adding a very large dollop of Guinness chocolate mayo to this will actually make it really nice. So we've got our chocolate really done up, and we're going to add in, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to make a roux. And so I've already done that before, and we want to go, and you can kind of see this is a very dry roux, just a little bit of moist where you can put it. I'm using about a stick of butter. I'm using, of course, our Kerrygold butter with a cup and a quarter of flour. And I like to use King Arthur's flour because it's closest to what more like Irish flour is going to find out. Now you want to mix this together, and because there's so many other liquids going on and the beer in here, you want to make it a dry roux. So I'm going to turn our heat off here right now. We don't need it to heat up anymore. And we're going to add in our roux right to our mix. And as I said, is the basis of our cake. And you want to just mix this all together, and it'll thicken up very quickly. And from here on out, you're going to go and add in your eggs. You're going to go and add in little spillers there. As I said, I used to go and get all embarrassed about making a mess like this until you go and watch old Julia Child stars, and she's flinging it all over the place and having a lot of fun. So we're going to kind of have a little bit of that or two here. So we get it all mixed together. The next thing you would add in is just your normal things for baking, your eggs, your powdered sugar, we add a little bit of powdered sugar into it for adding about a half a cup more to add in for a little bit more sweetness for it, but not excessive. We want baking powder, baking soda, a little bit of milk or sour cream, which you can add into it, and then we use our walnuts for it all. And this for it all, when you go and put it together, put it in your dish, is what's going to go and put together and make you have your cake. Now to save time, I've already baked the cake. You want to cook this at a low heat for about 45 minutes, about 350 degrees. And it's got a nice, like, now if you wanted to go and make this a flat top screw, you can very easily just go and cut off the top here. I kind of like using the top portion of it. So we're going to place this on our cake stand here because we're going to quickly go and make our frosting here. So let's clean up a little bit of our mess here. I know there's always people at any of my demos right now who would be going and saying, please, please, can I go and lick the bowl? In this case, the stovetop. So, what we're going to do next is make our frosting, because we're going to make a lava type frosting with this. And again, with the butter I always like to go and use is Kerrygold butter. And if you have forgotten, or the reasons why I recommend Kerrygold butter, most American butter uses between 17 and 19 pints of milk to make a pound of butter. Kerrygold is using between 21 and 23 pints of milk to make that same pound of butter. What it translates for chefs, it means that it has 3% more milk fat than American butter, but more importantly, 15% less water per volume than American butter. We tend to water down our butter. You ever notice when you take the butter out of the fridge and you put it in there on the shelf there or on your tabletop and it starts to sweat? Water and oil don't want to mix. They want to separate all the two. So I like to use this because it's got a much creamier flavor for it all. So we're dishing, and we're using, like I said, a nice square. And we're going to make, what we're making kind of a frosting right now is a more of a lava style. I like to go and have it just poured over the top. This dish actually, like I said, which is in my Irish Celtic cookbook, is something that my dentist, when we cater her Christmas parties, the entire office ladies in there are all just dying for this dish. This is the one, they may change the menu from year to year, but this is something they have to have for it. So really, really indulge us. So we're going to get this all mixed in, and at this time, change over here to be more of a, we're going to add in powdered sugar. And really this kind of changes. You can't go and say this is an exact amount of how much I'm going to put into each one, because I found over the years doing demonstrations, whether I'm in New York State, I'm in California, I'm in Colorado, Michigan, Texas, wherever, the different altitudes and the humidity in the air change all this. So we're going to use our powdered sugar in here really to begin with, just to thicken it up. And then we're going to go and put in our cocoa powder for our flavor. And you want to mix this up, and you want to keep this fire. I think with a little, my new stove here is burning a little hotter than all my older ones. But now you want to go and just quickly keep mixing this really, really a lot. Now, if it's not binding or if it's not getting smooth, one of the tricks of the trade is, first of all, let's cool this down completely. Let's get this mixed in. And I'm going to use 1 egg in here. You want to make sure that you're not too hot right now, and I think I'm almost a little hot. We'll remove that completely from our stove top. Wipe down the rest of our table here again. There have been a lot more new challenges for me trying to do as a chef with only one eye. And I'm not going to become the one-eyed chef. So anyway, what we do is when we get this thing, trying to get it, we want to hold it together. We're going to go and take 1 egg, throw it in there. And we're going to use that and bind it all together. And just by really, really stirring this, we're going to get a much smoother, and I'm trying to get you to go and see this a little bit, a much smoother style frosting. Make sure that's all bound in there. There we go. You'll be able to tell when you get to that point where it just starts to smoothen out. And then we can take our cake as such, our nice little dome here, and just lob it all out. Let that nice frosting just kind of fill. Now, obviously, there's more sugar in the frosting than it is in the entire cake, but there is a good mixture for it all. Now, traditionally, this is done the Guinness Chocolate Walnut Cake. They use a lot of walnuts throughout Ireland, and it's a really good flavor for it all. And as you can kind of see, let's see if we can get a nice slice here. There we go for you. Guinness Chocolate Walnut Cake. Really, really moist. Just enough sweetness to go and make it taste good. So, I want you to go on to the Celtic Caterer and Chef Eric McBride on Facebook or thecelticcaterer.com if you're interested in our Irish cookbook. And also go and check out the Minnesota Irish Festival. They're online this weekend for the virtual festival. You're going to really, really enjoy what they've done. I've been going there the last 3 years. I absolutely love going to that little festival. Well, not that little festival. There's about 70,000 people there. But it's an excellent little festival, and they really, really want to go into what Celtic cuisine is. A good friend of mine, Chef Fergal, out in Ireland, he comes out every year for it all. And we have a blast there for it all. So I want to thank you all very much. And as they say in Gaelic, Slán Flúirt, we all meet again. Thank you there.